Exploring Ait Ben Haddou, Morocco's ancient mud city. Hey everyone, welcome back to Travel EduStories. Today we've made our way to one of Morocco's most photographed locations, the Ksar of Ait Ben Haddou. You've probably seen photos of this place online. It's that famous fortified village that looks like it's growing right out of the mountain. It's located in the Ouarzazate province, which is about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from Marrakesh, depending on how many times you stop to look at the view in the high Atlas Mountains. As we walk up to it, you can see why this is a UNESCO World Heritage site. It's essentially a giant complex of earthen buildings surrounded by high walls and defensive towers. It's a perfect example of Moroccan earthen clay architecture. What's interesting is that while it looks like a single fortress, it's actually a community. A Ksar is basically a group of kasbahs, which are individual houses or mini castles all clustered together. Let's head inside and see what makes this place so special. To get into the old city, we have to cross the Unila River. Most of the year is pretty shallow. You'll see a modern bridge that was built recently to make access easier for locals and tourists, but you can also still see the traditional sandbags and stones that people used for centuries. It's a bit of a fun challenge if you want to try the old school way. You might notice that the new village is on this side of the river. That's where most of the people live now, in modern houses with electricity and plumbing. Only a handful of families, maybe 5 to 8, still live inside the actual ancient Ksar. The rest of the buildings are now used as shops for local artisans, or they're being preserved as museums. It's important to remember that this isn't just a museum, it's a living piece of history that's been inhabited since at least the 11th century. Let's talk a bit about why this place exists. Back in the day, Ait Ben Haddou wasn't just a pretty village. It was a major commercial hub. It sat right on the caravan route that connected the Sahara Desert with Marrakech and the Atlantic coast. Think about the 11th or 12th century. If you were a trader coming from Timbuktu with a caravan of camels carrying salt, gold, or spices, Ait Ben Haddou was your last major stop before the difficult climb over the Atlas Mountains. The village provided safety, water, and a place to trade. Because of this, the local tribes became very wealthy and powerful. The Ait in the name refers to the tribe of or children of Ben Haddou. These tribes weren't just farmers. They were savvy business people and protectors of the trade routes. As we walk through these gates, try to imagine thousands of camels parked in the valley below and the sounds of trade echoing through these very alleys. One of the coolest things about Ait Ben Haddou is the construction. If you look closely at the walls, you'll see they aren't stone. They are made of pissé, which is a mixture of mud, clay, and straw that is rammed into wooden molds. It is an incredibly sustainable way to build and is very effective for the climate here. These thick walls keep the houses cool when it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer and warm during the cold desert nights in the winter. However, mud brick is also very fragile. The biggest enemy of this city isn't time, it's rain. When it rains heavily, the clay starts to erode. That's why you'll often see workers applying a new layer of mud plaster to the walls. If a house is abandoned for more than a few decades, it literally starts to melt back into the earth. This is why the UNESCO status is so important. It helps provide the funding needed to keep these structures from disappearing. You'll also notice geometric patterns at the top of the towers. These aren't just for decoration. They're traditional Berber symbols intended to ward off bad luck and show the status of the family who lived there. We can't talk about Aïd Ben Haddou without mentioning the movies. If this place looks familiar, it's probably because you've seen it on the big screen. Since the 1960s, this has been a favorite for Hollywood directors. It started with Lawrence of Arabia in 1962, and since then, it's been The Man Who Would Be King and The Jewel of the Nile. More recently, it was the slave city of Yunkai in Game of Thrones, and it was a major location for the movie Gladiator. In fact, the film industry is one of the reasons the village is in such good shape today. When a big movie production comes to town, they often repair parts of the Ksar or build new structures, like the arena in Gladiator, that the locals then keep and maintain. It's a strange but effective way of preserving history through pop culture. As we make our way up to the very top of the hill, the paths get a bit steeper and narrower. This was intentional. It made the city easier to defend. Right at the peak, you'll find the ruins of the Agadir, or the communal granary. This was the most important building in the village because it held all the food supplies. In times of war, the villagers would retreat up here to protect their grain and wealth. Once you reach the top, the view is just incredible. You can see the entire Unila Valley, the palm groves or palmeris, and the modern village across the river. On a clear day, you can see the snow-capped peaks of the Atlas Mountains in the distance. It's a great spot to just sit for a minute and take in the silence of the desert. It really makes you appreciate how people have managed to thrive in this environment for over 1,000 years. As you're wandering through the narrow, shaded alleys of the Ksar, you'll definitely notice small art stalls. You should stop for a few minutes because the artists here use a fascinating traditional technique that's unique to this region. Instead of standard paints, they use natural ingredients sourced from the desert and the local markets. For yellow, they use saffron, which is one of the most expensive spices in the world, to mimic the glow of gold. For blue, they use indigo, a pigment that has been a staple of Saharan culture for centuries. But the real magic happens with their invisible ink. They create a mixture of concentrated green tea and sugar. When they first paint with it, the paper looks almost blank. To reveal the image, the artist holds the paper over a small flame or a gas stove. The heat causes the sugar in the tea to caramelize, turning a deep, rich brown and bringing the landscape, usually a silhouette of the Ksar or a camel caravan, to life right in front of your eyes. It's a great example of how local creativity turns simple, everyday items into a beautiful form of storytelling. It makes for a pretty incredible souvenir that literally carries the scent and the science of the desert home with you. So, if you're planning a trip to Morocco, Aïd Ben Haddou is definitely a place you shouldn't skip. It's easy to visit as a day trip from Ouarzazate or as a stopover on your way to the Sahara dunes of Merzouga. It's a unique mix of history, architecture, and cinema that you won't find anywhere else. If you visit the city with a guide, which you should, ask them to show you how to choose a proper cloth to cover your head and face to protect you from the sand and heat of the desert. They will also show you how to cover your head correctly, which makes for a fun and useful experience. Thanks for watching this episode of Travel EduStories. If you enjoyed this tour and want to learn more about the world's most interesting places, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your travel buddies. Let us know in the comments if you've ever been to Morocco or if it's on your bucket list. We'll see you in the next one.